Hey everyone, I'm back again. Here I want to show you guys my analysis of where Bitcoin is right now. Since Bitcoin, everything is tracking with Bitcoin for the most part. It gives an indication of the general health of the market, where we are right now, and what my predictions and projections are for the upcoming future. So right now, I'm looking at this pattern. It looks like we're starting to form a bit of a head and shoulders pattern, which is a reversal pattern. Um, you can see earlier at the end of November, we touched down at the 3600 level, came down a bit lower into the low, say around 3100 or so. Right now, we're sitting at just around 3600 again. So it looks like the general neckline of this head and shoulders is descending a bit. So I'm sort of expecting that this shoulder here might drop down. It may come down a little bit farther than where we are at currently right now, and that sort of coincides also with the same theory that you guys watched me explain of how we may be forming a bit of a bear flag right now, that has still in development, has not played out to either side at this point yet. So we're still live, kind of watching that market there. So another thing to note here, as you see this descending sort of neckline, I am seeing an ascending pattern on both the RSI and the stochastic RSI, and it's also prevalent here, showing on the MACD. Um, that is very bullish. That is very bullish right there. This is on the daily chart. If we were to get an action like this, if this head and shoulders actually played out, I expect this to be a very large move coming up here. Um, I am seeing a little bit of a curl downward here on the MACD, but in general, it's still sort of riding upwards along this pattern. That's the only thing here that might be of any concern at this point. So we'll probably be looking to catch this. Um, let's see, looking at the volume profile. Um, it's pretty even throughout. We're sitting on some good support here around that same level, just under that other shoulder. I might give it maybe around 3,500 or so. Probably tag some of the upper levels of this peak, a little bit of a peak right here. Probably sit somewhere around there, around the 3,500 levels, and from there, I would expect these the RSI and stochastic probably to drop down, um, catch catch this trend line, and blast off. We may see a little bit of a snag in the mid 44s. That's the bottom side of a longer term trend line. This comes from our dismal bearish year bearish trend going on here. So we could catch a little bit of a snag here, possibly. There may be a little bit of a stop out somewhere, but I expect this with this sort of move. I'd really be expecting this to blast off up to close to the 6K level. I'm guessing we might not get all the way there, and I'm expecting to get rejected from that line, because that is such a strong. 6K was an incredibly strong support line throughout earlier this year, to many traders' dismay, that had broken down below, and right now it's going to be an incredible struggle trying to get back over that hump. So I for one, I don't expect us to break that, break back into that pattern that we were in earlier this year, right off the bat on the first shot. With an explosive movement like this, it's probably going to get rejected. There would have to be some major news going on for that to blast above, which very well could happen. Now this is into the January time frame, and if you guys have been following the news, there are a couple major things fundamentally that we will be looking for in January and February. One, the BACT program, BAKKT, had been postponed from December and is now again slated for the end of January. There has already been some rumblings that might get pushed back farther. Fundamental news like that is something that could help bolster the price action one way or the other. Or it could be something that retail investors may use to sort of explain what's going on in the charts. I personally prefer to watch the charts much more than the news myself. There's always somebody out there that knows what's going to happen before it actually happens, before that news gets leaks out, and certainly well before that news hits the mainstream, and then someone like you or myself actually reads something that somebody else has already taken the time to write, and now you have to digest it, and by that point moves have generally already played out. So I watch the charts much more closely than the news. I don't really I try not to really take the news with too much weight. So if something like BACT did get pushed out again in late January, that could be a reason. Aside from this technical analysis, it could be a fundamental reason for a decline. But again, that is a really strong 6K was a really strong support line, and now will be turning into a resistance line. So I'm expecting that probably to kick back downwards, and it may start an Elliott wave pattern. We'll see. But from that point, if it does kick back down, I'm looking for some support again around that 4,400 level. Again, it sort of picks back off of the lower trend line from the long-term trend throughout 2018, as well as starting to pick up some support off the top side of the head and shoulders, it basically off of that head and shoulders neckline. So from there, that may form, if you guys can sort of see this here, that may form something like a cup and handle, or this could turn in a cup and handle is very bullish. Cup and handle is bullish. That could take off, or that could just look like a massive bear flag here, and we could get rejected off the top of that trend line again. Neither one is necessarily bad. If we were to take off, then we get a second opportunity at that 6K level. If we break down farther, my guess is that we may go into some lower lows. I would honestly, I'd be surprised if we didn't retest the 3K level at least one more time. And if we do, I would also not be surprised if we punctured just below. If we punctured that 3K level, we didn't do it the first time. If we punctured the 3K and hit 2900, basically I have a feeling a lot of retail investors have some stop losses set around that 3K, and if we hit that, then people who are day trading may be able to pick up on some wicks and some price action there under 3K, and sort of take that money, try to scoop that up. So that's something I'll be looking for. And if that ends up playing out, if that plays out, we may be looking at a potential much larger head and shoulders happening. So with that, more to come there. That's those are some longer sort of projections out based off of what little information I can pull for you guys here. So this, of course, may change quite a bit in the next coming months. But also, so just want to again mention, Backed is supposed to be coming in late January. And then one of the final decisions from the SEC regarding Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency ETFs is supposed to be happening in February. They have been pushing that out time and time again. And this February call is supposed to be one of the major deciding factors overall in these ETFs. So that would be huge. That's another reason why we could potentially get a big boom. So I personally kind of looking at Bitcoin over the long term. This is a weekly chart here. And you can see this head and shoulders that I just showed you guys, and some possible projections of how this could play out. I think that this could ride out a bit as we go before we fully pull out of this bear market. But to kind of give you guys an idea of when's a good time to buy, when isn't. Right now at that 3K level, you can see how much support we have around 3K. We have some peaks previously back in May 2017. Act as some really strong support here at 3K, and it's just a very big sort of fundamental level. Anywhere's within here, that 3K to 6K range seems to be a very, very good buy level. A lot of investors, retail investors, as well as traders alike, really did not expect this long-term triangle to break down. It has, and there have been people in early 2018 saying, hey, we may go to 3K based off of some overlays of the current market versus what happened in 2013, 2014, that bear market. So we have fully played out to, and are fully playing out to that 3K level, which from a fundamental standpoint was an area that a lot of people said we would never go, and even the naysayers, the super bears, said that was probably going to be an absolute bottom there. But I do want to warn you guys, nothing's ever certain. Nothing is ever certain in any market. Right now, I'm seeing if 3K like totally breaks down, not just punctures, but like totally breaks down, and then like would get denied again. The lowest that we could realistically possibly go is that 1K, just over 1K, maybe the mid 1000s sort of level. Would not make me very happy, although I am someone who watches this stuff like a hawk, and I will be scooping up everything I can between where we are here and there, if that does end up happening. That 1K level, that is also the peak. That is a peak level of 2013. So not only is that a huge support coming from all the way from early 2017, before this massive bull run in 2017, but it's also the peak from 2013. So if we ever did actually get into that level, 1K is like an absolute zero. I personally, I don't think we're gonna get there. I don't think we're gonna get to that level, and I will show you why. I'll show you why right here. One, we are in the RSI right now. We had been in oversold levels, had punctured down beneath that oversold level on the weekly, and we have not been down there. Since like 2014, 2015. So that is a very bullish sign. We are getting into areas where people just aren't selling anymore. They're people who got afraid, just freaked out earlier in 2018 and sold everything. They've already sold. So at this point, we're getting into oversold levels, and the stochastic will continue undulating, but that RSI is one to really keep a watch on, and we have started picking up on volume again as well these past 2 months. You can see we're getting into volume levels now in November at least, where we hadn't been since in 2017. So the interest is starting to pick back up again. People who have sold have generally sold, and now people are looking to get back in. Looking at this is the logarithmic chart for the weekly, and I just want to point out just how impressive this is. This is the logarithmic weekly chart going back to the beginning of Bitcoin. Beginning of Bitcoin in back in 2011. So Bitcoin overall, it bottomed out. It was around like $2 down in 2011, late 2011. Right now it's at 3K. Just from a broad perspective, that's less than a decade, and and we haven't 10x, we haven't 100x, we've over 1000x in less than a decade. That's insane. It's very, very healthy. You can see these are very regular sort of market cycles. We are fortunately right now, if you're looking to buy in, at the bottom of a bear market, and I want to show you guys, check this out, where we are right now. We are sitting on the top of the 200-day moving average on the weekly chart, and looking at patterns here. If you see this sort of, I'll draw this out for you guys, this descending triangle pattern, another one. This has played out, dropped down. Back in 2014, we had a similar situation where we have triangle it had, let me draw it back down here. There we go. Said totally broken down. This is again is very loose sort of triangle here, but broke beneath this triangle pattern, this wedge, and dipped down to that 200-day moving average on the weekly. We're sitting on that right now. You can see a triangle pattern and a massive dip, triangle pattern, massive dip, 200-day moving average touchdown. From there, it took a while. It actually took about a year to fully bust out into a full bull market. Throughout that time period, it was increasing. See, I'll just, it's sort of marked by this 200-day moving average a little bit anyways, but you can see that increasing bottom trend line there. So right now, I'm expecting the market to start picking up, not in massive ways, but definitely in ways where a lot of money can be made. I'm expecting us to get a double or even triple bottom coming up here. So this is what I'm looking at right now, and just want to show you guys. Yes, we're in a super bear market currently. To me, that basically tells me it's like everything is on sale. Everything's on sale right now, in a huge way. And this entire, if you look at 2014 into 2015, this entire channel was all opportune entry zones. And we're in that opportune entry zone with Bitcoin right now. Lots of stuff is going to happen. Let's see. Let's make a projection here. Similar time frame. We probably will stay within this channel up until we break back out over that 6K level. I'm saying we'll probably stick within here, up and down, making some money trading, and all the portfolios in general should be going up. Altcoins should be picking up quite a bit within that channel. Bitcoin is sort of that stable rock. Altcoins are even more volatile than Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going up, then whether it happens at the same time that Bitcoin is going up, or if they start happening on opposite sort of schedules, which it changes up to, depending on the market as well. The altcoins should be picking up within this next 2019 here too. Probably by the end of 2019 is where I'm sort of looking for us to bust back out of that 6K range is what it's looking at. And at that point, also, just so happens from a fundamental standpoint, the Bitcoin mining halving, however you can pronounce that, halving, will be happening then too. So that means the reward for mining Bitcoin gets cut in half at that point. The last time that happened, that was huge. So just so happens, looking at the charts, that's about when things are lining up for things to really take off into bull market, full bull market. Things will be picking up in 2019 per what I'm looking at here, and I would say full bull market be watching for at the end of 2019, and 2020 is really when that halving is going to be happening, and I think we're going to explode. I think it's going to explode so high, I'm not even sure if I want to make a conservative estimate right now, but let's just sort of extrapolate things out here a bit. You can take a look at the numbers. You take a look at the patterns here. I'm not going to make any official guesses, but if you are getting in any time within this purchase period, this optimal entry zone, there are very good things to come. Want to show you guys a couple other reasons I think that we are at the bottom of the bear market currently too. I just noticed that we are also entering oversold levels on the RSI on this weekly chart too. The last time we were oversold on Bitcoin on the weekly chart was January 2015. Again, exactly where that projection is from that first downturn of the bear market from 2014 to 2015. So, guys, that's another huge reason, huge indicator. The RSI is getting into oversold levels. It's actually punctured the oversold level. The last time that happened was at the turn of the market in January 2015. I also want to show you guys, as I'm doing this long-term analysis on Bitcoin, it draws me also towards the stock market. I would like to show you guys, I'm sure those of you who are looking to invest also follow the stock market quite closely as well. And the stock market has taken quite a turn here late in the year. So I'm just going to show you guys the S&P 500 right now. And I put together a little bit of analysis for you guys here as well. Just showing you guys where I think we are on the S&P 500. In March 2001, we were sitting on the top of the 200-day moving average on the weekly chart. In 2008, here we are again, sitting on the top of the 200-day moving average on the weekly. And fast forward to December 2018, we're sitting right on the top of that 200-day moving average. Generally speaking, from market theory, bear markets or recessions happen approximately every 10 years or so. As you can see here, we're a little bit overdue at this standpoint. We've been trading within this channel for the past several years, since 2009. But this scares me a lot. This scares me a ton. I don't think we're over. If you take a look at the Bitcoin charts from earlier in 2018 as well, there's a massive drop, and I'd recognized that based off of some bearish divergence, which I also see here on the S&P 500. I see some bearish divergence there on the RSI, as well as MACD. So if you had spotted that earlier in the fall, then you might have gone out of the market entirely at that point. Bearish divergence on the weekly chart is not something to play with. So you can see a couple of my other trend lines here, some longer term trend lines. This one particularly interests me. I think, as you can see here, anytime we had broken that 200-day moving average on the weekly and taken some further plummets for the next year or so, year, at least. This was the dot-com bubble bursting. Didn't recover for a couple years, and then here we have the 2008 recession. Same thing. So after we broke down out of that 200-day moving average, just plummeted, plummeted from there. So we just got a bounce this past week off of the 200-day moving average. I expected that, and I personally think that's probably going to form a massive bear flag. Really scary. So watch yourselves out there. And I wanted to show you guys this in comparison with the cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin. S&P 500 is what everyone sort of uses as the rock in stocks, similar in comparison to Bitcoin in cryptos. And one, I think you guys can see here, you know, the gains that have been made since, let's see, let's find 2011 here on the stock market. 2011, S&P 500 was in the thousands range. Bitcoin was like, yeah, that like $2 or so. Right now, S&P 500 is 2,400. Not even close to the amount of upside in the stock market as cryptocurrencies. If you're interested in cryptos, I'm assuming you already know that. Another big thing for me right now as an asset manager, cryptocurrencies, they have already found their bottom in the bear market and are looking to the upside. Right now in the stock market, what I'm seeing right now is we still have some significant downside to go. So cryptos up and coming within the next year, stocks likely not. So you know, which one do you guys think has a higher potential? To me, definitely Bitcoin. And which one do you guys think is going to pull into a full-on bull market sooner? From what I'm looking at, it's also Bitcoin. So that's another thing to take into consideration for your investment opportunities this year in 2019. Again, I hope this helps you guys make some good informed decisions on what I'm seeing right now in both of these market spaces, both in the short term and long term. And hope to see you guys soon. Thanks. Cheers. What's up, guys? This is Jeff here from the Crypto Crew. If you like this video, I invite you to apply to join our free online group where we talk about all things crypto. Link is below. And if you'd like to get curated market recommendations, learn where I learn, and be part of our live trading chat rooms, I invite you to join me in the Watchers Crypto Brief. Link is also below. And if you like this video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Happy trading.